Welcome to episode number 25 of the Between Two Brands podcast. I'm your all-American host, Little Billy Petrie here, wishing you and yours a happy Independence Day, because that's when this is going to drop on Independence Day 2025 as we celebrate the 249th birthday of this great nation. We'll get to that in a second. I'm wearing my I'm Just a Bill t-shirt in honor of this auspicious occasion. But before we get to it, let's pay a bill or two, shall we? Hey, this explosive episode of Between Two Brands is proudly brought to you by Simglass, the all-American drinkware that's as unbreakable as your love for fireworks, freedom, and one more round. Let's be real, it's July 4th. You're surrounded by sun, grills, and maybe a few too many people who say freedom isn't free while double fisting seltzers. The last thing you need is a shattered glass by the pool or patio. That's where Simglass steps in like a bald eagle of barware. Strong, majestic, and 100% made in the USA. Based right here in Nashville, Tennessee, Simglass delivers high-end, unbreakable drinkware that looks and feels just like glass, just without that risk of sending someone to urgent care. What makes Simglass different? Glad you asked. Let me break it down for you. Unbreakable in just about any situation. It's made from plant-based, fully recyclable material. It's dishwasher safe, so you lazy folks over there, you can rejoice. It's resistant to cracking, clouding, and discoloring. It's BPA free, and like I said earlier, made right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So whether you're raising a toast to independence or just trying to keep your rosé at the perfect temperature while dodging flying cornhole bags, Simglass is the luxury drinkware for your client's brand. So skip the sad solo cups and elevate your summer sipping all year long. Check out the full Simglass collection at starline.com and look for Simglass. Your client's brand deserves better than simply basic. All right, I did mention that today is Independence Day. It's the 4th of July as we celebrate the birth of this great nation. And I was thinking what I wanted to talk about today during the little preamble part of the podcast. And I thought maybe it would be good to talk about what America means to me. I don't think we do that enough. We live in an extraordinarily divisive time. We've gone through things like this before, and I'm sure we'll go through them again. But I think it's always good when we have an opportunity to do so, to go ahead and pause and reflect on what things mean to us. So I'm just going to share the things I wrote down. I'm going to read them because I don't want to get my own words wrong. That would be weird, wouldn't it? But I want to share what America means to me. I'm profoundly proud to be an American, and not just because I think we've always gotten it right, but because we're always striving to. That effort and that ideal still very much matters, not only in our nation, but in the world. Being born here meant I had the freedom and the opportunity to chase my wildest dreams. And that's including Brand of Eight, promotions, doing a podcast like this. I've been able to build a life doing what I love, and that has not been lost on me for 1 second. And it's not an opportunity that would be afforded to me really anywhere else. That same freedom has allowed me to support my family's dreams too. And there's something uniquely American about working hard, not just for yourself, but for those you love and those who are closest to you. I believe being an American isn't about waving a flag on July 4th. It's about carrying the weight of our freedoms with grace. It means showing up, doing the work, and being a decent human, especially when it's not easy. I don't need to believe in America. I don't need to believe America is perfect to be grateful. I'm allowed to question things, push for better, and still be insanely proud of where I was born and where I live. One of the greatest gifts of being an American, it's the right to be uncomfortable, to speak up, to listen, to disagree, and ultimately find common ground, because I still believe very much there's so much more that brings us together than divides us. Like building a business or raising a family, being an American is very much an ongoing project. It's the promise of America isn't automatic. It's something we all have a responsibility to help shape every single day. The fact that I get to share my thoughts freely on a podcast, even one that pokes fun of the industry that I work in or myself, isn't a freedom I take lightly. And last, I absolutely love this country, not because it's flawless, but because it's mine. And like any deep love, it comes with accountability. And I do believe all of us need to be stand up and be accounted for. That's my little preamble. It's not funny, not meant to be funny, but I do think it's worth a few minutes of your day today, or whenever you end up listening to this, to reflect on what does it mean to you truly to be an American. Like I said, I'm insanely proud of being being born in this country and living in this country, and I believe in the ideals that this country was founded upon, and I still fervently believe in the future of our country, despite the differences that we may have from time to time. All right, let's move on. One more bill to pay, and then let's get to our guest. What do you say? Hey, do you know what season it is? That's right. That's right. If you guessed business valuation season. Now, perhaps you don't know what your company's worth. Maybe it's been more than a few years since your last valuation, and you need a new benchmark to see if the company's increasing in value. Heck, you might want to just see if it's time to sell your business. Regardless of that reason, Jamie Watson and the experts at Certified Marketing Consultants have extensive experience in the world of branded merchandise and the financial knowledge necessary to provide a fact-based valuation of your business. Simply email them at info@certifiedmarketing.com today for a confidential discussion. And heck, you're going to be at ASI Chicago here in a couple weeks. Jamie Watson's going to be there. She'd love to have a chat with you. And you can email her at jamiew@certifiedmarketing.com. You won't be sorry you did. All right, enough of my yakking. Let's get to the fireworks that I'm sure my guest is going to bring today. Today's guest, honestly, he doesn't need an introduction, but it's the 4th of July. You're not doing anything anyway, and I feel like wasting a little bit of your time, my time, and his time. So here we go. Today's guest is living proof that sleep is optional when you have 2 kids, a full-time hobby list, and a passion for lake life. He's been married to the amazing Leah for over 19 years, and together they've raised 2 incredible boys, a 16-year-old high school football star and newly minted driver, buckle up Tennessee drivers, and a 10-year-old who's either on a baseball field in a football helmet while living his best travel team life and draining his parents' pocketbooks. When he's not being a full-time game changer stats wizard, you'll find him on the lake with his family, driving the family boat while the crew is wakeboarding, surfing, fishing, or like it's his second job. He dabbles in hunting, golfing, and karaoke because nothing says weekend warrior like bagging a buck in the morning and belting out Nickelback and Joe Diffie by night. Please welcome a man who may or may not have had a karaoke mic in his oversized truck at all times, the one, the only. We call him Tennessee Alex, but you might better know him as Alex Moltz.
Bill, good day to you. Hey, before we get started, I've never heard you been officially introduced for your podcast, so I actually doodled down a little introduction for you. So before we get started, it's only right that I return the favor and introduce the man behind the mic, as oversized and compensating as it is. This marketing maestro with questionable allegiance to professional hockey and college football teams is the host to the podcast that shows that Bill is a human Swiss Army knife of branding. Part hype man, part therapist, part promotional product whisperer. When he's not dropping truth bombs in his famous Bill-torials, he's grilling meat or his guests with his 5 easy questions, which, spoiler alert, are never easy and usually slightly traumatic. He's the only guy who can make you rethink your entire go-to strategy and your taste in music. Buckle up, because if you thought the guest was worth tuning in for, wait till you hear this guy's charisma and charm, unless you fail to advance the slide as he presents in front of hundreds of attendees at Expo. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and golf buddy, Bill freaking Petrie.
Wow, Alex, thank you so much. You did great.
Thank you.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I have a case of the vapors. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Now I will say I've one more surprise for your audience. It is 4th of July weekend. I am very big in America, and there's one thing that I think of when I think of 4th of July, and it is hot dogs. So allow me to pull out my hot dog cooker here. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I am going to while we're doing the podcast here, I'm going to do my best to eat a few hot dogs while doing this podcast. So I've
Well,
never used this before. This is going to be interesting.
one thing I didn't mention when I introduced you is you are the guru of the glizzy. So I think this is only appropriate. So
Thank
I believe you had a few questions you
you.
wanted to pepper with me. So just a little transparency here, kids. I asked Alex. I waited till got up the nerve to ask Alex to be a part of this little tomfoolery podcast, and he was very eager and very excited, which I appreciate. But he also said, "I have 5 questions. Make them 3. I've got 3 questions for you. I'm not telling you what they are. Buckle
No
up."
prep.
So I
No
am now
prep.
buckled. Let's go.
Okay, good. 5 point harness. All right, Bill, I'll start out with an easy one. As you produce the Between Two Brands podcast every Friday, alongside with all your other content, which includes blogs, food and beverage posts, and endless selfies, have there ever been moments where keeping all that momentum can get overwhelming or creatively exhausting? And how do you navigate contact fatigue and pressure to constantly stay on brand? And how has that shaped what you believe are sustainable marketing practices today? Start with the easy one.
So that's a big question. So there's a lot in there. You've been using Chat GPT, I see.
I learned from somebody.
I know you did. And I'm sure you asked for clarifying questions before proceeding.
I absolutely
Uh,
did. Advance the slide.
so here's the challenge I have is time. The biggest thing, I love doing everything that I do, even when I'm stretched to the max, even when I'm stressed out, even when I'm tired. I still love doing everything that I do. So there's never a moment where I go, oh man, I don't want to do it. The only sigh anyone would ever hear from me is, man, I just feel like I'm running from one thing to the next. I'm trying my hardest to be better about protecting some time for me, just for me and my family. Sometimes circumstances don't dictate that. I'll be transparent. My goal was to be off this week. Now, being off meant I wasn't going to have any meetings. I was still going to do some work, but I was going to take some downtime. Circumstances dictated I couldn't do that. Moved my son to Montgomery, Alabama, to start his career. That took 3 days. So it's just life. And so the older I get, the more I just realize, this is temporary. I'll get through this. But
Yeah.
I've learned to be better at saying no, learn to be better about protecting. How does that affect what I do? I don't think it, I think there are times it affects what I do. I think there's times where there's only so much in the well on a given day. And so just like is a glizzy ready?
Yes, it's ready. Well, go
Excellent. Oh, okay. Enjoy your wiener,
ahead.
as only you will. So, there are times, I have to stop. My brain will say, I'm just going to work X amount of time until I get done what I need to get done today. And what I found is that ends up yielding results that I'm not always proud of. And so I've learned to say, I've worked about 7 hours straight. I'm starting to get a little foggy head. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to take a walk around the block. I'm going to sit outside for a few minutes. I'm going to watch a TV show for a half hour and just clear my head and then come back to it. And I find I'm more refreshed. So I'm learning to cope with the pressure I put on myself. I don't know if that answered your question, but we
No,
still have a little bit of time in the podcast.
I'm just trying to say that you're quite the inspiration of how you can balance work and work and family life because your bride is a saint for keeping up with you all these years, Miss Sandy. That is.
She definitely is. I am a very fortunate human as you are, as Leah is quite lovely herself.
Mm-hmm. So question number two.
As Alex is chewing his glizzy, he has a second question that he's going to
Mm-hmm.
ask me. But before he asks me that, I just want to talk about the first question, how much I enjoyed it. Alex, you do have a second question for me?
I do. Bill, you've seen branding and promo industry evolve dramatically over the years, from Moses imprinting the stone with the Ten Commandments to catalogs, fax machines, cold calls, digital everything. What's one shift in the industry that honestly scares you, whether a trend, technology, or mindset? And how do you prepare for it?
I think the one trend that I think we're seeing less of, but it still scares me, is laziness for our and not and when I say this, I'm not saying that every member of this group is lazy, but there are a lot of lazy distributors out there. There are a lot of lazy distributors who, and here's what I mean by that. They expect the suppliers to do all the work. They send in crappy POs. They send in artwork that can't be used. They give incomplete information. They go on the promotional products Facebook page consistently. I understand once in a while you're run out
Mhm.
of ideas. I get that, but sometimes I see the same people over and over again, basically using that group as their creative counsel. And to me, that's just lazy. And then the other part of the coin on that laziness is just simply, as a distributor, just slapping a logo on something and not asking the client, what are you doing with this? Who's getting this? What kind of experience do you want them to have? How do you want them to feel about your brand once they leave and have the branded merchandise? So I think there's just a little too much. I think it's getting better. I really do. And I'm sure I'm going to get barbecued for this, but I think that's the trend I dislike the most in our industry. That and there again, I'm going to pick on distributors a little bit. A good portion of distributors still take advantage of suppliers in terms of how this industry is funded. They don't participate in the financial aspect of things. Like, a lot of distributors are very confused by the supplier relationship. They think they operate distributors think suppliers operate on like a 25, 35% margin. And I'm here to tell you, I've said it a million times. If it's in double digits, that's fantastic. We're talking usually 5 to 8 or 9 is really what suppliers operate on. It's a volume business. And so every time you say, hey, I've got a buddy or I've got a client who needs 144 pens or 144 of whatever, can you give me EQP less 10? They're losing money on that order. So I'd like to see that trend to stop as well, to understand that, hey, this is a partnership. It's one of the reasons why with promocations, when you go to those events, but we have this supply, the distributor pays for their flight out there. They have skin in the game. It's not just supplier funds a large proportion of that, but there's always an aspect of you as a distributor, you're invited, you need to pay some of this too.
There's
Those are
also
the two
several
trends.
distributors that come on their own dime. They realize how
Oh
great of
yeah,
an event it is and come on
absolutely.
their own dime. So, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But I do have
Right.
one final question for you as I'm about to finish
Okay.
my third dog.
Yeah.
Bill, if the promo
Yes.
industry were an 80s or 90s rock band, let's say somewhere between Van Halen and the Foo Fighters, what
Yeah.
role or instrument would you be playing in the band? And more importantly, what wildly unnecessary green room requirements would you demand in your contract?
Easiest question I've had all day. I'd
Perfect.
like to tell you that I'd be the guitar player.
Hmm.
But I think we all know I'd be the lead singer. I got a big mouth. Anybody's ever seen me speak knows if you give me a microphone and a captive audience, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I mean, so I do a podcast for crying out loud. So I'd be
Confirm.
the lead singer.
Uh,
My green room requirements. Um, okay. That one's actually stumping me. I'd say I'd have to have a bottle of Jack Daniels and Coke Zero. I would like that as part of the green room. I'd also like the book Nothing But a Good Time, which documents the Sunset Strip in the '80s,
yeah.
and all the debauchery, just so I could live vicariously through there because there would be no debauching in my green room.
No.
And then the final thing I think I'd like is because I'd be on tour and it's hard. And I'm being a little sentimental here, but I actually mean this. I'd love a picture of my family. That's got to be part of it. My family, as
Motivation,
as I'm go,
inspiration.
yeah, as I'm going through transitions and kids moving out for good, not just college. So yeah, I'd want my family to be there when they couldn't be there. So those are the three requirements I would have, and those are in order. The
I
Jack
love it.
Daniels, oh, you know what I also like? I'd like some smoked meat. There has to be smoked meat, and it would rotate. So Monday it would be tri-tip, Tuesday it would be chicken, Wednesday it would be jalapeno cheddar sausages, uh, Thursday would be I think smoked burgers. Burgers would be good. Friday would be brisket day. Saturday would be dealer's choice. I'd like to be surprised, and Sunday I'd take a chuck roast and have them smoke that slow.
I think that's pretty incredible. You are putting someone else in the hands of being responsible for your meat. So, you're not going to request an actual smoker or a grill in your green
Nope.
room. You're gonna
Nope.
live vicariously through somebody else.
That's
Well,
correct.
that is very respectable. So that's pretty awesome. So
Well, thank you. I try to be respectable, as you said.
respectable.
All
Well,
right, so I've got questions for
thank you for
you.
being
This podcast,
flexible with my questions.
no, and thank you for being so knowledgeable about what we were going to talk about. All right, so now it's time for
Undeniable.
me to now I get to reverse the whip on you.
Hmm.
All right, Alan, you are the director of marketing for
Ow.
SHEPENCO. Oh, did I say Alan? I'm sorry. Alex, you're the director of marketing for SHEPENCO, an almost 100-year-old family-owned company, a pencil company, in a world where kids think cursive is a conspiracy theory. What's it like trying to modernize an old school product in an age of screens, styluses, and people asking, wait, you mean like actual pencils?
It's a good
He's chewing
question.
his glizzy.
But, no, I've got a goal. I wanted to finish four before the podcast was over, and I'm always three and a half. So I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Maybe to cook the other ones. So
Yeah.
we get that question a lot. It pairs very wellly, if that's a word, like Alan's a person talking to, uh, about, do people even buy pencils anymore? Well, we're a part
Mhm.
of the Writing Instrument Manufacturers Associations, and the amount of the U.S. population is growing, and the same rate pencil sales are growing per year in the United States. So people are buying. It is an archaic, it is an old school, it is a cheap and cheerful way to have a promotion product or give a promotional product away. Think about it this way, Bill. A pencil was one of the first promotional products you probably ever used. So it's got a lot of nostalgia. People write with one and they are instantly taken back to grade school, or if they didn't finish grade school, back when they were studying on the kitchen counter with their parents. But it's an interesting way to navigate it. You have to keep up with the trends on how to print things, whether it be UV, whether it be full color transfers. So you have to make sure you can keep up with the latest trends. But once you kind of get somebody a pencil in their hand and kind of reintroduce them to that old feeling, they like it. And it's like
Yeah.
grass seed. You can spread it wide and far, and some will grow, and it could sprout into different opportunities.
Absolutely, I love that, and I love the pencil. I do love it as a vehicle, and I think to me, it's the absolute photographic or graphical personification of creativity. There's nothing that says creative like a blank pad of paper and a sharpened pencil
Right.
sitting on top of it. So I love your answer. All right. All right, Andy. All right. You are a die-hard fan of a certain SEC school.
Hmm.
As such, I'd like to talk about that horrific Tennessee volunteer orange, objectively the worst color in the history of pigment.
Hmm.
It's like a creamsicle had an identity crisis, threw itself on a traffic cone, and then got rejected by a construction crew.
Wow.
Alex, as someone who voluntarily, get it, wears that shade, how do you defend it? Is it loyalty, color blindness, or just a cry for help?
Well, Bobby, I'd like to tell you that we get to wear orange on Saturdays. We get to hunt on Sundays, and we go back to the correctional facilities on Monday and never have to change our clothes. But it is ironic you should say that you don't like that color orange when you're an Aggies fan. I would think that the dull, boring, stupid orange of the Longhorns would be much less desired from you.
Well, I will tell you, both are horrible. Burnt orange is terrible, but so is the creamsicle orange. Honestly, they're both pretty bad.
Well, we stick out, much like the state tree of Tennessee, which is the orange road barrel. So
Mhm.
we're great. Just wait, Bobby. We're going to have a great season this year.
Okay, I look forward to it. Hey, you love golf, something we both enjoy, having played many rounds together. Let's talk about your favorite golf club, which happens to be in my golf bag, called the Baffler.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not even yours. It's like loving a dog that lives at your neighbor's house. Now, does it sting a little bit, knowing that the one club that makes you feel like a PGA legend is at your neighbor's house, your friend's house?
Mhm.
Is it's not someone? It's one you don't even own. Is it the forbidden fruit of your golf bag dreams?
Yeah. It really that, and I'll be just as honest as anybody. I'm also a big fan of your Sasquatch. For those who don't know the Sasquatch, that is the old school silver and yellow Nike driver. And if I was lying, I'm dying, Bill. I saw one on Facebook Marketplace this past week, and I bought it for $40. So we now have
Yeah.
sharing Sasquatch clubs in our respectable bags. The Baffler, uh, the Baffler is a love-hate relationship because I believe it was hole number 7 at Franklin Bridge where I just put a clean one right down the middle of the fairway, and I was like, you know what? Let's use this again. The next shot, I'm pretty sure I hooked it and hit a house. So it's the Baffler is a great club as well as the Sasquatch.
And it's a great name for the club because
Mhm.
you are quite baffled using it.
I'm
But
baffled
I
how
will
the heck it
say,
works.
it it's the easiest hybrid wood I've ever hit off a flat surface. I will say that. Now, where
I'll
it's
give you
going, I don't know. All
no
right,
clue,
two
no
more
clue.
questions. You're
Okay,
doing
good.
great, by the way.
Thank you.
Alex, this episode drops on July 4th, and you're a very proud American, as evidenced by your Bomb Pop shirt you're wearing. You've got
Yes.
an American flag eagle in the background. I absolutely love it. Let's set the scene. Are you celebrating Independence Day by shotgunning Natty Light in an American flag tank top while yelling Rocky 4 is the greatest documentary ever made? Or do you take a more subtle approach, like crying every time you see a bald eagle in slow motion? Walk us through what freedom looks like in the world of Maltz.
Well, just going to do a little wardrobe
Oh
change
no.
here.
Oh my God, this is unplanned. He is taking off his, I'm going to do play by play. He is taking off his Bomb Pop shirt. And he does have a
Yeah.
tank top that says Tennessee and his dogs.
So I would have to
He's putting on
say,
shades.
I would have to say that shotgunning a natty light while I'm not on the boat, I do not promote boating and drinking, of course.
Always a bad
While I'm not
idea.
on the boat
Joking
is,
aside, always a bad idea.
yes, always a bad idea. I would say I'd go with that option for sure. So,
Okay. Okay. Wow, you are something to look at. If you're not watching this on what the kids call the YouTube,
mhm.
you are missing out. All right, final look at that. Oh my gosh. All right, final question. You have cemented your legacy as the undisputed karaoke king of promo cooks. Like people don't even try anymore because that they know that Moltz is about to drop the mic. So here's your choice. Sing the Star Spangled Banner completely soaked in natty light with sparklers in both hands.
Mm,
Or
mm.
belt out Rocky Top stone cold sober in Times Square at noon on a Tuesday while wearing head to toe volunteer orange. Which moment of deeply public embarrassment are you choosing to add to your ever growing karaoke resume?
Well, it, gosh, you see, you put two things that are wildly important to me:
I
fire,
did.
beer at the top of the list. I'm going to have to go with the Star Spangled Banner, just because my allegiance is with the Tennessee Volunteers, of course, but Tennessee falls under the umbrella of America, and I'm going to have
Yeah.
to just stick with America on that one, sir.
I love it. Hey, before we say goodbye, this episode of Between Two Brands has been brought to you by the good people over at Simglass. It's the drinkware that's unbreakable by
Wait,
design and
Ben is sponsoring
unapologetic.
this one. Ben's sponsoring this
Simglass
podcast.
is, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Hey, can I show you one thing real quick? Hold on.
Oh,
I actually have a sim glass sitting at my desk right now
what's that?
because Ben and his team was so kind enough to help my wife and her lady friends go to the Mexico Mamacitas group, and
Yeah.
so I have one right here. I can vouch for not only sim glass,
Yeah.
but Ben is an awesome person.
Absolutely. They look like glass. Simglass
Just
looks like glass, feels like glass, and they won't shatter your dinner party dreams
oh,
or your Mexican vacation, as the case might
unbreakable.
be. They are unbreakable. They're dishwasher safe, microwave safe, BPA free, indestructible, and made right here in Nashville, Tennessee, which means they're made right here in the United States of America. When you're looking for drinkware that actually lives up to your client's brand and their standards, head to starline.com, which is their partner, and explore the full Simglass collection. Alex Moltz, thank you for being a friend. Thank you
Bill,
for taking the time out to do this podcast, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
it's been a great time. Thank you so much. And if you can take us to the outro with my air guitar.